Alright, yo, so we back at it with another reaction video. This is going to be an interesting segment that I do on my channel, guys, where I react to really good MMA videos and give my take on it. So look, why the UFC is basically a cartel by MMA Explained. The original video will be in the link down below in the description. This is my first time watching it. Also, anybody that's new to the channel, guys, appreciate you guys liking the last video and things like that. We're going to keep it going. Guys, like, comment, and subscribe. When you guys subscribe, hit all notifications so you guys never miss another upload. But anyways, let's get into it.
We all know the UFC underpays fighters, especially
Facts.
starting contracts on $10,000 to show, $10,000 to win. But
Alright, we're just going to...
have you ever really asked
We're
to
just going to
show
restop her right
10,000 to
Guys, you have to think about this. These dudes are literally putting their life on the line. And these men and these women are putting their life on the line. And they're getting 10K, 20K.
win? But have you ever really asked yourself why? Maybe they just don't have enough money.
Nah, hell no.
For example, at UFC 306, the worst floor seat cost was $12,000. One seat, $12,000.
Wow.
That means one chair was worth more than a fighter who showed up, fought, and lost. So why is this happening?
Wow.
One short, one long. The short answer, they don't need to pay more. The long answer, let's break it down. In the
Wow.
2000s, MMA wasn't just the UFC. There was real competition like Pride in Japan, Strikeforce in the US, WEC, or Elite XC. If you were a fighter back then, you had options.
Long story short, the UFC has a monopoly over the entire MMA community. Ta-da.
And because you had options, the UFC had to pay more. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't a monopoly. But instead of fighting competition, they did what billionaires always do. They bought the competition. Pride bought and shut down. Strikeforce bought and absorbed. WEC gone. Elite XC collapsed, and the UFC picked up the pieces. One by one, the options disappeared, and when the dust settled, only Bellator was left standing. At first, Bellator was a solid competitor. They picked up whatever the UFC didn't want anymore, like Rampage Jackson and Chael Sonnen. They had few solid names like Are You Not Entertained?
Are you not entertained?
Patricio Pitbull, Michael Venom Page, Douglas Lima, Shlemenko, and others.
Not to mention, here's an issue with this, right? Which it even helps the UFC even more with their whole monopoly they had over the sport. Did you guys see Pitbull versus Yair Rodriguez? Pitbull got exposed. He's not good. Let me backtrack a little bit. I'm not gonna say he's not good. I'll just say that he came to the UFC a little bit too late, and he oh God, Douglas Lima. I think Douglas Lima was in the UFC before, and yeah, I think he was in. And MVP is just not that good. He's like bottom 15 good, you know.
Shlemenko, and others. Bellator wasn't the UFC, but
So
it
this
was
helps.
real. It kept some pressure on
This helps the UFC not having to pay. Is what I'm trying. This is the point I'm trying to get at.
the system. Until it didn't. Over time, Bellator fell apart. Bad
Yep.
business, bad matchmaking, bad leadership. And
Yep.
while Bellator crumbled, the UFC kept rising.
Rising,
The
yep.
2010s were the years of McGregor. Massive fights, massive pay-per-views. By the mid-2010s, the UFC wasn't just the biggest promotion. It was the fight game. Everything else, just leftovers. Once the competition was gone, everything changed. The UFC didn't have to fight for talent anymore. They owned the talent. If you were a fighter, you
Oh,
had
boy.
two choices. Sign with the UFC or fade into obscurity. Bellator tried to compete for a while, but it never reached the same level. And now, Bellator is gone too. Bought by the PFL, another so-called option off the table. The UFC became the gatekeeper to fame, to money, to legacy. And when you control everything, you control the prices too. Now, yes, if you're a big name, you're probably getting paid.
This is so
Adesanya,
sad.
John Jones, or Paddy Pimblett. You're bringing eyeballs. You're moving numbers. You're valuable. And for those guys, the UFC cuts bigger checks, as they should. But for the rest, for the guys trying to break through, the starting pay is the same garbage it's
sad.
been for over a decade. 10 and 10. Since at least
That's so
2010.
sad, yo.
And the $50,000 bonus. Same as it was back in the Brock Lesnar days. Meanwhile,
See, that makes no sense. If the UFC is worth what did Conor say? What did Conor say? $4.4 billion. They're worth a lot of money, probably even more than that. Like I could do. Hey Siri, how much money is the UFC worth right now in 2025? Come on, Siri, don't fail me now.
Something went wrong.
Shut your bitch ass up, yo.
He needs
some milk.
Right now, the UFC is currently valued at a staggering $12.3 billion. And you mean to tell me they're still paying these fighters 10 and 10, 12 and 12? You guys can't bump it to 15. You guys can bump it to... It should be minimum... For me, man, I think it should be minimum 30, man. It should be 30 to show, man. Like, come on. Like, at least the average amount of money for an American, it might be... I think it might be between 24 to 36K, somewhere around there. Come on, man. You can't pay these guys and these women between 25 to 30 to show and win. And up the bonus to 75K. I think at UFC 300, it was like 300K for the bonus. I can't with Dana White, man, and these guys sometimes, man.
Meanwhile, the UFC's business exploded. The pay-per-view prices went up, the gate numbers tripled, and Dana White can't stop talking about how he's breaking all the gate records.
The gate was 11.5 million. UFC now holds number 1, 2, and 3 highest gate record of all time at the Kaseya Center.
The UFC is making 10 times what they were in 2010. But fighters at the bottom, they're stuck at 10 and 10. Maybe you can live with the fact that the UFC is a business first. But the one thing that shouldn't slip through the cracks is the starting contract. 10 plus 10 is disgusting. It's criminal. Let's do the math. You fight for 10 and 10. You lose. You only get 10. You pay taxes. Now you're at 7. You pay your trainer and your manager. You're left with 4, maybe 5. $4,000 for months of training. Weight cuts, brain damage. Honestly, it's literally better to beg on the street than to lose a UFC fight. It's not just about low pay. It's about control. The UFC controls everything. Who you fight, when you fight, what you get paid, and what sponsors you're allowed to have. You want to wear your own sponsor in the cage? Nope. Only UFC-approved logos. And guess who gets the check? Not you. Remember when fighters could earn real sponsor money? 5 figures, 6 figures. Now they get a tiered bonus based on how many UFC fights they've had. And it's not just sponsors. The UFC controls pay-per-view money too. You'd think if you're a champion, you got, let's say, $2 per pay-per-view buy. And your fight sells 1 million pay-per-views, $2 million, right? Nope. Here's how it actually works. From 0 to 500,000 buys, you only get $1 per buy. From 500,000 to 750,000, you get $1.50. Only after that, from 750 to 1 million, you get $2 per buy. So instead of getting $2 million, you get $1,375,000. So even if you sell out the arena, you're still getting scaled percentages like it's a phone data plan. And here's the thing, you can't complain, you can't speak out, because if you do, you might never get booked again. This isn't just about fighter pay, or sponsorships, or contracts. It's about how the business is structured. The UFC isn't just a fight promotion. It's the center of the MMA world. Now, if you want to be seen as the best, you fight in the UFC. Simple as that. The UFC decides who gets signed, who gets pushed, who gets paid. You don't negotiate like a free agent. You accept what's on the table or you don't fight. And most fighters can't afford to walk away because there's nowhere else to go. That's just what happens when one company becomes the market. The UFC built that dominance. They earned it, but it also means they don't have to share much.
Today, I'm working with Topps and giving away a prize pack of trading cards worth over $5,000.
Maybe this is just how the fight business works.
If you don't like it,
let me say right now, guys, this is disgusting, and this is sad. This made me just really like even more angry than I already was with the fighter pay. But this just pissed me off to another level, yo.
There's a simple solution to this problem. Go start your own MMA organization. No barrier to entry. Knock yourself out. Pay them whatever you want to pay them.
But if you're a fighter entering that system, you should know exactly what you're signing up for.
I mean, what a lame response, right?
Go start your.
What a lame response. What a terrible response to that. The company's doing better. You guys are worth more than before, but yet the fighter pay remains the same, and the only people that get paid are the people that are entertainers, like, or just the big names, the O'Malley's, the Poiriers, the Holloways, John Jones, Islam. These are the only people that are getting. So basically, you have to fight your way. The way how the UFC treats it, and I'll end it off with this. They literally look at it as like some type of like, is this the Hunger Games? Like, you just fight your way to the top. And I get it. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to fight your way to the top. But it shouldn't just be like that also based upon pay. I mean, this is a combat sport. right? People are not out here putting a ball in a hoop or kicking a soccer ball. They're actually kicking someone's head. They're bouncing somebody's head off the canvas like a basketball. You know what I'm saying? Dunking on somebody, real life slamming them down like they dunked the ball. So this is a really dangerous sport. It's combat sports. Broken orbitals, broken shin bones, broken arms, broken legs, all type of stuff going crazily wrong. Everything going brain damage. 10 and 10. Man, it's rough, man. It's rough, and I don't know how it's gonna get any better, man. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. It really, it's literally burning me as I'm thinking about it. The fact that the UFC is worth $12.3 billion and it's only been rising, and they've only been breaking all these records, but fighter pay somehow is the same. Discussing on Dana White, man, like I said, he's done a lot of great things for the sport, obviously, but then there's just really some scumbag shit about him that pisses me off. And I understand running a business, but it's like, it's one thing to run a business and it's another thing to run a cartel. So let's look at the definition of a cartel real quick. Cartel definition. All right. An association of manufacturers or suppliers with purpose of maintaining prices at a high level and restricting competition. So yeah, like I just said, it's one thing to run a business. It's another thing to run a cartel. Guys, drop a like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell and select that all notifications button. So whenever I upload another video, you guys will get notified. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.